So there was a monastery that was struggling, and very few people were coming anymore. And there was a lot of concern within the community, and a lot of the younger monks left. And there's Joy. Okay, come here. And, you know, sadly, it's the way many churches are in our nation today. The presence of life is missing, and the numbers are decreasing. And so we hold a prayer about that, right? But this monastery, this was what was happening. And so the abbot went to the elder rabbi for advice. He said, what do we do? People aren't coming, and the buildings are dilapidating, and what do we do? He had tea, he kept waiting for, the 4 steps or the 3 steps or the 7 steps. What do we do? And the old rabbi said, all I can tell you, and I'm only going to say it one time, is one of you is the Christ. So as the man's walking down the mountain, he starts thinking about, who could it be? Is it Father William working in the kitchen? Is it Father Tom that's working in the garden? Is it one of our ushers that greets the people? Who is it? They began to look for something. And because they were looking for something, then they began to start seeing with the people that they were looking at, and then an energy became alive. And from that energy, then more life began to come. And then everything started increasing, and then everything started improving simply because they were looking for something. You're here today because you are looking for something. I'm here today because I am looking for something. We are always, as in our humanity, looking for something, either instinctively or in a guarded reality. We are looking for something, and what we are looking for is what we are looking with. What we're looking for is what we're looking with. So the question then would be, what is it that you're looking with? And you're looking for, on a deeper part of your spiritual nature, for someone to tell you that you're not a broken person, that you are totally whole, that you always have been and you always will be, and anything else you've ever bought or identified with or believed or been swayed by or signed up for a club or membership card, had you buy into something less than that, it is simply not true. And so when we live our lives going around as a perceived sense of broken, we look from a heart of things are broken, and we project that other things are broken because what we are looking for is what we're looking with. And so what our goal is, what our intention is that we heal all levels of our brokenness, because that's where the deeper level of joy comes from. If you've had broken realities, get on your knees tonight at home and give thanks for every one of them, because they have built you to the brave soul that you are. And before you were ever born, you agreed to all of it. You agreed to all of it. As Martin Luther King Jr. would say, shall I just connect with someone as I pass along? Shall I cheer someone up when they're singing their song? How and can I bring to someone's attention when they are doing wrong? Shall I not live my life in vain? And when we hold on to the wound, when we hold on to what happened in 1940 and those things, and we happen, and you don't know and you have no idea, and we tell our stories and we hang on to the wound, our lives are not able to fully thrive with the messenger in which we are designed to complete our incarnation. And so it is crucial for our lives. I liken to the story of the live auction, and it's going pretty well, and all of a sudden the live auctioneer looks at the back of the corner and he sees a violin, and he goes, is that to be auctioned? Sure, go ahead. They bring it up, it's all dusty and everything, and bring it up, and somebody says, I'll give you $1 for it. I'll give you $2 for it. Maybe 3 will do. And all of a sudden, a master violinist from the back of the room comes forward. He picks that violin and he takes the dust off and he plays the most beautiful melody. And from the back of the room, someone says, I'll give you $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 because the master played. How is the master of your own understanding playing? How does your ability to play in this world, the instrumentation of your own reality, that your worth is never settling for just ordinary, plain, and okay, but that you stand in a place of being exceptional as one of the greatest spirits that's ever lived on this planet today. You not only owe it to yourself, but you owe it to the children. We need responses. We need you to not be gloom and doom. We need you to lift up the spirit and have them see in your eyes that there is not only hope, but the best is yet to come. It's literally best to come. And I love June. I love the month of June. And I love the fact of how we address all three very significant things. We address Father's Day. We address our founding fathers because somebody played a part in the reality of us being born. We honor that. We also honor the reality of our founding fathers. All people are created equal. Not some, not those that you're familiar with, but all people are created equal. And all animals are sentient beings. And I've been saying that since I was born. Okay? So it's like all things are created. So we work with that. We work with that component, and we work with the intellect, and we work with law. You know, the mother, the female, the love. Love wants it, and law points the way so it can happen. So that masculine is so essential for all of us, you see. And then we celebrate and sweat a lot during summer solstice. And the fire. Because it is the fire that allows each and every one of us to sometimes dig deep beyond that brokenness, because that's where we find that deeper level of consciousness of joy. And it's so crucial that we find that fire, that we have it no matter what. Yes. And then we kind of land it by coming in on Celebrate Pride. Right. We celebrate pride. We celebrate the energy of pride. We celebrate the essence of an evolving, evolutionary spirit of creation, that even as they discover new animals and new existence on the planet that are showing up, beautiful, gay pride, gender change, non-gender, what are you? All this shows up as a different package of love. As a different package of love. So you go into a place of your own level of reality that says, this is what love looks like. And when there are traditional settings, not many left, but those that have their Sunday school kids singing, Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world, red and yellow, black and white. Well, not red, no. Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world, yellow, black and white. No, not black, no. Jesus loves, not yellow, no. Jesus, hello? Hello? Jesus loves all the little children, but no, not those people. No, and not that group of people, and not that country. All I say is, well, don't be singing the song. Just don't be singing that song. Because unless a song is your reality, it has no tune. It has no tune. So why does this matter to me? Well, you may wonder. Well, now that you ask me. So at 13, I was one of the family favorites. My last name's Hayes. I lived on Hayes Road. I'm named after my grandfather, John Temple, and things are looking pretty good. My grandmother praises me. I make good grades. I was never called an angel, let's be clear. You know, I'm not going to say that, but I was definitely honored and very unique, probably, still. So at 13, and a half, my parents start noticing I'm acting different, and they invade my treasure chest in my room, and they discover my 14 and 15 page letters. Oh yeah, you know those kind of letters. We used to actually write them to people we loved. Yeah? So I was writing all these letters and then kept them, and she was writing them to me because I was in love with a 17-year-old girl. That week, I went from being someone special to a foreign object to everyone around me. I had meetings with grandmother that I was going to go to hell, and she was sad that she wasn't going to be in heaven with me. Everything changed. Things became gloomy and dark because the family gatherings weren't the same. Or they would be like, because they didn't know I was intuitive and psychic, so I could feel what they were, right? And so it was a defining moment. It was a defining moment in my life, to say the least. But there's something about, when I think about this story of, like if you go to the Straz Theater and you see the name tag, you know that's the usher, right? And you know that this person's going to help you if you need direction or whatever. And I think about this manager that asked the usher in training, do you know what you do in case of an emergency? And he goes, oh, don't worry, I've got it covered. That's why I'm sitting to the back. If something happens, I'm out of here, right? And the manager realized that, the individual did not understand the price that you pay with your name tag. Your name tag has a responsibility. And tag, you're it. Your name tag has a responsibility. You chose your name in this current time and in this lifetime. And so I was recalling in the midst of that, because it was a deep place by far. And I was calling in the Our Father. And I noted that. It said Our Father. It didn't say some of you. It didn't say only the Southern Baptists. It said all of us. Our Father, which is not a gender to me because I believe God is a principle, but I also believe that it meant that we're all related. And then it said, hallowed. And I speak of that often. But it's hallowed be thy name, which means your name, which is what you name yourself. And it is more important what you name yourself than what anybody else can ever name you. But one of the things that I made great clarification about in myself is you aren't going to bring me down. You were going to lift me up. And that I was going to accept that this is me and this is who I am and this is the energetic presence that I carry, and I will be part of the love package that changes the world. Because we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We're not surrendering. We're not giving in. We're not letting go. We're not going to stop talking about it. We're going to put it in your face. Because you got to change. You got to shift. But there's a responsibility, it's like sobriety, and I played that. I mean, I had 17 almost major car wrecks. I went to jail twice. I almost drank myself to death. Listen, I know pain, but I know that you don't really know pain until you find the joy that matches with it. That's what I know. And I also know, and what I've learned, is that you will not ever be free. You will not ever be free in your being until you stop judging other people. And so it's crucial because Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. As yourself. So that was a big, long message. That could have been a 20-minute talk, I'm sure. I don't know what they were doing that day, but that could have been a long message, because what is as yourself mean? It means that when you hold yourself as being whole and not broken, that's the way you perceive everybody else. When you take off those illusion glasses and let go, because when people are self-righteous, it's because they're wounded. When people think their way is the only way, it's because they're wounded. When people think, oh, they have all your answers, it's because they are wounded. And so your best teaching in the world, as I say so often, is when somebody says the best answer you have came from you. And that's why if you're going to love your neighbor as yourself, when you look at your neighbor and you start talking about your neighbor, you're talking about yourself. If you're an elder person and you don't want to be judged as being an elder, then stop judging young people. If you're an elder person and you don't want to be judged as an elder person, then stop judging change. And stop saying everything so loud. You're just going back to your own evolution of spirituality. Because children also believe things are too loud. So give thanks that you can hear. And give thanks for that energetic presence, you see. And if we are, and we happen to be, people of color, then don't judge the people that are not. And don't tell them they're privileged, because you're the one that's privileged, and we're just waiting on you to know it. You've been the most privileged all along. You have been the most privileged because you're making us look at ourselves. So we look at that judgment, the tall, the curly, the whatever, and we settle it within ourselves because the gift of love says, whatever you are, I love you. Period. Whatever you are. I think that's going to be on our label one day when we have to fill out all those government forms. Who are you? And you're going to put whatever. But it's such a level of commitment to your spiritual journey. Spirituality isn't going to things. Spirituality is being aware of what's going through you. Spirituality is about the reckoning and the peaceful making of, you don't need a club to be okay. And I'm talking about whether you're vegan or, whether you're sober or whatever. Nobody needs to be like you. That's so boring. And so you're comfortable with that. You're very comfortable with that, as much as you can be comfortable here at Unity, because we're always afflicting the comfortable. But that's another talk. But I want to just ask you in closing to think about it this way. So there's an elder monk, and he's coaching a younger monk, and they're walking beside the river. And in that walk, they see a woman that is in the creek there, and she calls out to them and says, "Can you please help me? I can't get out. Can you please help me?" And they kind of look to each other, and the elder monk, he goes down and he lifts the woman up and he carries her up on the bank. Well, they walk for the longest time in the silence. And finally, the young trainee, he just can't take it any longer, and so he says to the elder, he says, "You know that we are not supposed to have anything to do with women. And I can't believe that you did that, and I can't believe that you carried her." And the elder man looked at him and said, "Son, I dropped that woman off at the riverbank, and you are the one that has been carrying her ever since." Wow. And so I ask you today, with an open heart, what are you carrying? And what are you still carrying? Because whatever you are still carrying is keeping that energy, that moment, that essence, that day alive in you. Or shall we say, not living in you. And if you could, because you can, and if you could declare today that you would end that, would you be willing to? If on the collective we make an agreement that we are going to transcend our brokenness to joy, and that becomes a story that you once knew, and then you take that into now responsibility to bring heaven on earth, which is what we are supposed to be about. Are you willing? Yeah. I'm going to invite you to stand. We're not going to do altar call or anything like that. I want you to hold this space, and we're going to go there. And I want you to hold the song, and I want you to go there in your energy. Everybody here? Feel the energy? You give me